Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. How about that? Let's jump right into the studio, Mike. Good to see you, my friend. We have a snap show that we're having here tonight because, well, it's happened, hasn't it, Mike?
This is I told you so for the audience.
Yeah, we told you, don't hold your breath. Don't think it's going to happen until it happens. Breaking UFO news, if I can go ahead, and I've got the videos here. Here we go. Yes, the UAP Disclosure Act has officially died on the vine, Mike. Like, we didn't think that was going to happen, did we?
Oh, we've been saying it since they announced it for the third time in a row. We knew it was going to happen.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. Shit, phone's ringing. Hello, yes? The what? No, I don't. Bye. Okay, no meds to pick up at the pharmacy. All right, let's get into this, Mike. Coming to us from our dear friend Dee Johnson, who was the first person, I think, to go ahead and break this on X. Let me go ahead and get those little friends that are flying around and just tone them down a little bit. Where are they at? Let's find it. Where is that at? Emotes. That's there. It should be like there. Should be way far down behind everything. We'll deal with it in a bit. All right, let's get back into this, Mike. Where are we at? Let me find back in the studio again. All right, Mac. Mike, where we're at. U.S. congressional update. The UAP Disclosure Act falls by the wayside, unfortunately. We heard coming from both Senator Schumer and Rounds that this was going to happen. It's going to be in there. Don't worry about it. Well, we've been saying, Mike, don't hold your breath because it didn't make it.
Yeah, because they failed 2 times in a row, didn't really change their approach, and of course it was going to die for the third and final time.
Right. So we're talking about the Senate Armed Services Committee Chairman, Roger Wicker, who is a Republican from Mississippi, said on the Senate floor that the Senate Democratic leadership had not yet responded to, quote, a second manager's package that all Republican senators had already approved for the Senate version of the National Defense Authorization Act. The second manager's package refers to a proposed list of amendments that, with agreement from both parties, would be added to the NDAA without separate floor votes. Now, it was confirmed today that the Schumer-Rounds UAP Disclosure Act, also known as Senate Amendment 3111, did not make it into this proposed manager's amendment package. Thus, it appears that the UAPDA did not achieve consensus support or acquiescence on the Republican side, as Dee Johnson says. We don't know the details regarding the impediments, Mike, of what kept it out, other than it's not there. That's the problem.
Yeah, well, we knew that Roger Wicker did not want it to go through, and he got what he wanted, obviously. So, yeah, it's still got the same pushback that it always seems to have had in Congress, and nothing has changed from then to now.
No, it hasn't. Now, although Senate Bill 2296 contains a couple of other modest UAP-related provisions, which we'll cover on Friday's show, and 2 others are found in the Senate Armed Service Committee report on the bill, we reported that the bill language and report language on July 16th and July 19th, when that was actually covered. So back in if you remember, Mike, looking back in 2023, it was the only time that the UAPDA cleared the Senate as part of consensus managers package with no separate vote. But it did not survive negotiations in conference committee within the House in 2024. That's where, Mike, we had the Senate that actually passed it, but when it got to the House, it died on the vine. This year, like last year, it's not going to make it out of the House. And guess what? Danny Sheehan's really pissed right now, by the way, because it died in the House because the people who had the votes to get there, who are we talking about? We're talking about Anna Paulina Luna, Tim Burchett, and who's the third one again? Nancy Mace. those three individuals actually voted for the NDAA to be passed without the National Defense Authorization Act. Now, the only person from the, if you want to call it the UAP caucus, or now the National Secrets Task Force at that point, the only person who voted against it was Eric Burleson. Now, if the other three had came to the side with Burleson, it would have, Mike, prevented it from getting passed without that legislation. Does it seem like, people from the, if you want to call
UAP
it
caucus,
the UAP caucus, are saying, well, we didn't want to go ahead and not give money to the troops. But the reality is, Mike, this doesn't have to be signed today. It doesn't have to be signed tomorrow. Why? Because the UAP, not the UAP, the National Defense Authorization Act is usually signed off by the president right before Christmas, end of December. We're in the beginning of October. We've got all of October, all of November, all of December. So the reasons they're giving, Mike, not to go ahead and support the end, to actually give support to the NDAA without the UAPDA shows that even the staunchest of supporters in the House aren't standing up for this bullshit legislation that we've been pointing out for the longest time was actually written by Colonel Carnell, the man who wanted to give us controlled disclosure, and following a plan of the Kennedy assassination, where Mike, we're going to have to wait 20 years, and if the president doesn't want to give us the information, they're going to keep it locked up.
Right. Yep. So it's actually, you could look at it that way. It's a good thing that it failed at this point.
Yeah. Personally, I haven't supported it. It's something that was flawed, and it was something you'd say, great, let's get something in there. But if you're going to do something, take it, Mike, split it into bite-sized pieces that Congress can actually get behind, rather than taking everything and trying to get it into one big, beautiful disclosure bill, which apparently never happened.
Yeah, it would have been a bureaucratic boondoggle if it did pass. So, kind of glad it didn't at this point.
Oh,
they need to come up with something completely new and different and better. But you know what? Even if they did at this point, it really looks like there's no support coming from members of Congress on either side of the fence. Not a good sign, by the way.
Well, but Mike, it's not just support in Congress. It's support from some of the biggest supporters of disclosure.
Right. The so-called advocates for disclosure, pro-disclosure, are not really pro at all because they didn't stand behind it.
Right.
So it's disappointing, to say the least.
It's more than disappointing, Mike. Now, this came to us just, I believe it was this morning, if not yesterday, about Daniel Sheehan, or Danny Sheehan as we know him. He's, as we talked about earlier, let's get into this tweet coming to us from David Haith over on X. Let's get into this. Lawyer Danny Sheehan has accused Tim Burchett, Nancy Mace, and Anna Polina Luna of chickening out on supporting disclosure. For a vote soon after the September 9th UFO hearing, these three, quote, didn't dare join Eric Burleson in withholding their support for the National Defense Authorization Act without the UAP Disclosure Act in it. No, they didn't. Danny said that, quote, the only person who refused to support the NDAA without that amendment was Eric Burleson. All he needed was to have Nancy Mace, Anna Polina Luna, and Tim Burchett join them in withholding their support for the NDAA with the amendment in the as part of the NDAA. As part of the NDAA amendment in it, and having the UAPDA as part of it, it would have failed. Actually, it would have failed if they didn't vote for it. Jesus Christ, I can't get that out of my mouth. He added, quote, they all profess to want to have protection for whistleblowers. They all profess of wanting to get in the disclosure bill put in, and yet they don't dare to give the impression to the people they didn't support the military. That seems to be the point, Mike, saying, okay, if we don't support this, we're not supporting the military. They could have come straight out and said, we don't support this. We support the military, but we want to have these disclosures a part of it. It's, whatever happened to Sticking your feet in the mud, and let's say bet your boots Bill Nelson at this point, standing behind something that you've put so much effort into?
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Look, this 119th session of Congress has been one big shit show from the entire time right up until now, and nothing has changed. This is an example of that. So this Congress doesn't really have any control over anything and doesn't seem to know what the hell they're doing. It's a bad sign to everything that's going on lately.
Yeah, it truly is, Mike. You look at the shit that's happening out there and potentially what could come forward. And if you, it just,
there's no excuse.
It would have been better of Danny to bring this up earlier, that these people aren't supporting it and the vote's going in, get it out. Yeah, I guess this happened a couple of weeks ago, to know this at that time, to try and push it over the hill.
He could have said something about it. You're right.
Yeah.
He could have mentioned it on New Paradigm Institute. He could have said something to us. We would have made.
He could have gotten out there and say, this crucial vote's coming up. All we have is Eric Burleson, all these three people. I mean, you would have had Laszlo and everybody else and every other reporter going after them. Even Joe Cahill from News Nation would have gotten in just to try and figure out why aren't they supporting it. But really, it needs to come down to, now they haven't. It's time for them to either shit or get off the pot.
Yeah, well, it's dead on the vine. I don't think it's going to move forward for a fourth time, obviously. And we'll see what comes next. Probably not much of anything.
Yeah.
So disclosure right now is on hold, just like the government shutdown. So nothing is going right or working the way that it should in Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
It's just, again, I keep going back to shit show because that's obviously what it is.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that Twitter space. It's a good one, though. UFO shit show. All right, disclosure taints a career, unfortunately. Yeah, it does. I guess they're afraid that, but Tim Burchett has been so loud on this. But we've been talking about this for a while, Mike, how much he's been pushed back ever since Anna Polina Luna got the chairmanship of the National Secrets Task Force.
And considering that he has seniority over her and they put her right over his head, yeah, if I was him, I would be annoyed as well.
Yeah.
For good reason.
Yeah.
Which would explain why he's also been so quiet about all of this. He hasn't really said much publicly.
None of them have.
No. And
none
that's
of them
not
have.
by accident.
Nancy Mace hasn't been saying anything since the whole Epstein thing happened, and she went off the edge. Isn't she not going to run for re-election, and she's going to go for governorship somewhere?
Yeah, she's running for governor. She's getting the hell out of Dodge, it seems like, and she's going to be leaving Congress. But then again, if you remember, we called her out when the other shit show that took place with the previous UAP hearing, where she prevented Matthew Brown from testifying publicly under oath to Congress and lied to the American people about it. Yeah, she's been turning tail and getting away from all of this. She doesn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. These people are hypocrites.
And
they say one thing publicly, but they do another privately.
And unfortunately, we get more tweets about Tim Burchett's farm and his donkeys that keep on escaping, or his dogs, than we get updates on what's going on with disclosure.
Right, because for all intents and purposes, disclosure is dead at the moment.
Yeah.
So there's really not much for him to talk about. Plus, he's also pissed. He's really annoyed of what they did to him, so he's being quiet about it, which I can understand.
Yeah. And we are on a kind of a touchy basis with Tim Burchett's office, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, because what happened was we got inside information about what again, Mike?
That James Comer, the chair of the House Oversight Committee, and Mike Turner, who at the time was chair of the House Intelligence Committee, After David Grush had testified publicly July 26th of 2023, it really made the Department of Defense and Congress look bad. So they had this backdoor, behind the scenes, closed door meeting where they agreed that it wasn't going to be anytime soon that they were going to have another hearing like that with somebody like David Grush. That's the last thing that they wanted. And you know what? It was a long time before we got the next hearing, which was also another shit show.
Right. Now, when that happened, if I look back at this time, Mike, just trying to clarify for the people out there who are trying to spread the untruths about this, after that, when that had happened, you got the information, if you want to call it, disclosed from a whistleblower from Burchett's office. And you got a phone call from their head of
Communications
director,
yeah,
demanding you reveal your source.
Which I obviously denied, yes, because they were conducting an investigation.
Right.
To try to find who that source was. And after a few weeks' time, they failed. So they reached out to me in desperation and demanded that I reveal who my source was to them.
Right.
Because they were getting a lot of pushback from other officers in Congress and other members to get to the bottom of what had actually happened with this information being revealed that they didn't want the public to know about.
Right.
But I, of course, was never going to do that.
No, of course not. But if you remember at that time, we were talking with LM and different things about different stuff that was happening on this, and he actually reached out to this individual, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, because he was aware of what they were demanding.
Right.
And our response to that, but he felt that he could interject himself and maybe get more information from Burchett's office.
But after his phone calls with her, right?
Yeah.
He actually was demanding the name of the whistleblower so he could go ahead and blow the cover on this individual and provide it to the director of communications for Burchett, basically exposing a whistleblower who confided in a journalist.
Right. So how that worked out with LM is that when he was aware of what we were dealing with Burchett's office, and I was clear about my position not revealing that source, he told me that he was interested in trying to reach out to Burchett's office. I told him, if you want to do that, you can, but my answer isn't going to change on what they're looking for. He then asked me privately to confide in him and provide the name of the source in that office.
Right. And I even talked to him at that time too. He wanted to get the information from me. And I said, tell you what, you don't call that a person anymore. Just give me the number and I'll call her. And I never did, of course.
Right. That's right. No, he was trying to implore me to reveal that information to him by telling me that I could trust him with that information. He wouldn't reveal it to anybody at the time. But my explanation to him was that this party that was trusting me doesn't know him from Adam and certainly wouldn't trust him. And I don't have the authority to reveal their trust and their information to somebody unknown. And until they would authorize me to reveal that information, which they didn't, I couldn't tell anybody about it.
No.
So he wanted it, and I wouldn't give it to him either. And he then decided that he would reach out to her office and speak with her directly. And that didn't go according to plan. She was not going to give him information. Like, he did ask her in the midst of this battle what Burchett's upcoming schedule was like. And she told him, because of the investigation, excuse me, she told him he was going to have to wait, like the public, when they finally release it publicly to that information. So he wasn't able to get anything out of her because he didn't have anything to give her that she was looking for, and I wasn't going to give it to either one of them.
Right.
So that was a big fiasco. It was a farce. That was what was going on at that time with Burchett's office. Lee wanted to be the center of attention, and interject himself into something that really didn't have anything to do with him directly, but because he was on the back chat and the show with us and was aware of what we were dealing with, he wanted to put himself into it, but it didn't go the way he thought it would. And I wasn't going to give him what he was asking for, obviously.
So this clown...
So he was pissed off about it.
Yeah, this clown wanted to go ahead and basically reveal a whistleblower from within the halls of Congress. It's just, it blows my mind, honestly. But that's what we're kind of dealing with. I mean, he said he's been a producer on the Disclosure Channel. Has he ever been a producer here, Mike?
Never. He was never a producer in this show.
Was he ever a co-host? Was he ever a co-host?
No.
Never.
No.
He's someone who gave a $99 super chat and wanted to get on a phone call with me because he and his son were being harassed by spirits in his house, ghosts.
Oh, great.
Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, well, the only spirits that I'm aware of that LM has ever been involved with is usually in a bottle.
Yeah.
And that's a long-standing problem with him that I believe is still going on till this day. He really is able to get very drunk and incoherent, which is what led him to be removed from the show, because when he would do that in the back chat, he would harass the women back there who were innocent. And we warned him several times to stop doing that. And when he failed on the final time, we had no choice but to permanently remove him from the show, which we did.
Yeah, attacking women.
Because of his,
it's a clown show if you have to stoop to that level. But you know what? The same games that he used to play here on Disclosure Tonight, when you talk about stuff, you ask him a question and he comes back with a question. He won't give you an answer, but that's the same kind of stuff that our good old Tupa and RPK are fed up with as well.
Yeah, because he's doing the same thing to them that he did over here with us, and now they're getting it firsthand, and they're not happy about it. The alcoholism, the drinking, the riddles, answering a question with a question. Yeah, now they're seeing firsthand what we had to deal with.
Yeah. You know, and also the things that come forward, it's almost like he's a compulsive liar or something to that extent. It's just stuff pours out of his mouth. He wants to say it's a fact. This is where it's at, but it's damaging, and it's something that, well, we'll get addressed sooner than later.
Yeah, but we're not just accusing him of being a liar. He's a self-admitted liar.
Yeah.
Publicly.
Yeah.
So we're not telling the public that, we think he lies. No, he's the one who admitted that he lies.
That he lied about saying that Lou Elizondo told him to go ahead and look into and research David Grush's medical records to defame him.
Right. That's right. The docs. But he is very good at telling stories and making himself the center of attention and trying to get some type of notoriety with people looking at him for information he doesn't necessarily have. And that's been the case for a long time with him.
Yeah.
Nothing changes. But we've been dealing with it up until the point where we couldn't deal with it anymore, and that's when he had to leave. Yeah,
but now he's dealing with a bunch of other areas. He's been hanging out with the trolls who have been continuing to attack me for 3 or 4 years, Mike. It just never stops.
Oh, you and me both, my friend. They not choosy. They attack the show, and because of our friendship with Lou, they have very big issues against Lou, which is really strange because
it's sad.
They never met him. They never talked to him. They have nothing to do with him. They don't know anything about him. But meanwhile, they have been relentlessly attacking him and anybody connected to him this entire time.
But you know what, Mike? It's not just we're victims. Swan's also a victim as well, if you remember good old Big Mouth Swan, who would like to throw shit at everybody, like a monkey for that matter. Well, just like literally picking up, throwing shit at everybody, not like a monkey would at the zoo for that particular point. Either way,
Well, he was an individual that
but Lee has multiple times gone out there and stated that Sawan worked for the VA and that Sawan was going ahead, and you actually went and, through Lou, went and took advantage of him and forced him to go ahead and actually to have him dox Lou's medical records from a person who's within the VA.
Right. But we know that Sawan is somebody who likes attention and likes to put himself out there. And the claims of Lou being involved or us trying to get access to any of that information, it's not true. Never happened. And the problem is when you make public statements and you continue to make public statements, you expose yourself to legal harm. Yeah. It's not something that you're allowed to do. People will claim, well, you're protected under the First Amendment. Yes and no. Even though you have First Amendment rights of free speech, you can't go into a crowded movie theater and yell fire. No. That's illegal. So when you do you think you could do whatever you want and say whatever you want? No, you can't. So when people are on the attack and saying unfounded allegations and making up lies and stories, and then they get caught out and they have to admit that they lied, it doesn't look good for them. And this is something that you and I and Lou have been dealing with for a long time now, but it's going to come to an end at one point. It's definitely no longer going to continue like it has. Yeah,
the stuff's been going on for a while. We haven't talked about it. It's about not giving it air. But the thing is, it's gotten so deep and thick into this stuff, we have to go ahead and bring it out. But if we can, Mike, just going ahead and putting our eyes to the sky for a second here. Let me go ahead and bring this up. Where is this at? Desktop. All right. So this is the GEOS magnetometer. This is basically the BZ. When the BZ drops down low and it looks like it's about to pop up, that means we're about to have a substorm. So if you're anywhere in South Dakota, Oklahoma, if you're in middle of Wisconsin, you're in Minnesota, even the East Coast, up in New York and everywhere, if you have a clear view sky, you don't have any clouds out there, go out there and look north, because there has been an amazing display going of the Aurora Borealis every single night, and it just keeps on happening night after night. And if you're not going out there looking up with your iPhone and your Android device, a lot of times you can't see this with your eyes, but if you go out with the camera, there are some amazing things going out there, Mike, right now.
Oh, that's incredible, that picture.
It'll be fine.
With all those colors. Very nice.
Bookmarks. Oh, God, yeah. I've got a bunch of these, what's been going on. We just saw those. Oh, hey, look at this. Lou Buffet got a job.
Oh, wow.
He's actually in the new Verizon commercial for the iPhone 17 with next to Kevin Hart.
Right. Yeah. Look at that. Yeah, very, very interesting.
And they made him a coat that fits. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's finally generated some money for the first time in an acting gig. So. Oh, yeah. Good for him.
Yeah. Now, the GEOS magnetometer, I need to go ahead and bring it up. This is from a couple hours ago. Yeah, the skies are cranking and everything right now. This is another one from about 4 hours ago over in Europe. It's been like this all day long, just beautiful sights going every single evening. I believe this is from last night. There's just been some amazing auroras going off in the skies over North America. And we keep on thinking it's over. No, it just keeps on coming back night over after night after night. And this is kind of like eye candy to me, Mike. You see these things, and granted, I'm not seeing it here, but I'm seeing these video clips and everything in real time, and it's just amazing what's going on out there in our skies. This little thing here that we've got going across in the overall image here is something called Steve. Not sure why it's called Steve, but it's a separate kind of a aurora that goes off on a full line. In addition to the aurora that you usually see, it's something that's rare. But yeah, Steve has been showing up again. What else we've got going on here? Oh, Mike, Antifa.
Oh, here we go.
Is going on in Portland, my friends. Yes, Antifa's back, and, well, looks like they're getting their ass kicked. I guess there are 200 people who were brought in from the Oregon National Guard. Granted, this is last night, but this is where showing that violent Trantifa rioter, Amanda Sieb, was arrested by federal agents outside the ICE facility. She has been caught on video previously assaulting a Portland police officer. This video comes to us by Katie Davis Court.
She does really excellent coverage of what's going on over there with Antifa. So,
yeah, it's just picking up because now that they're finally getting reinforcements in, you know, there's been a siege on this particular street going now, Mike, almost 100 days.
that's unbelievable. It's like we lost a major metropolitan American city to this crap.
Yeah, but, you know, Portland's been lost for years. I hate to say it, but it just shows how inept the local governments are in Portland and how left they are and how they actually go ahead and support this. You know, the police could get out there in an evening and take everybody. Now, let me just take a step back here. The person who actually went and, if you want to call it, assaulted the police officer, you know what happened to them?
Yeah. What?
They were brought to jail and promptly
Right.
released. They're not being prosecuted.
Well, that's insane. It really is. I don't care what side of the aisle politically you're on. It doesn't matter left or right. Lawlessness is not something that should be condoned to the American citizenship
Right.
population. The public doesn't need to be dealing with stuff like that on their own. It's like something out of a bad movie,
Yeah.
like The Purge or a zombie movie. It's just complete and utter chaos
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
It-
Trump is sending the troops in, so maybe that will help.
Night after night after night, this stuff just continues and it just adds to it. And, you know, unfortunately, Mike, this isn't covered in the mass media.
No, it isn't. Corporate media isn't touching this for some reason.
Right.
I don't know why. It's a good story. It's something that the public should be aware of what's
Yeah.
going on over there. But they won't cover it. Very odd.
We just look
It's
at this
just
stuff. You
terrible.
just have to wonder sometimes what the hell is going on. But, you know, while people are over fighting in Portland, this is the kind of stuff people are picking up every night lately. And it's been a while since we've had the Aurora going, but it just seems like it's going every single day, kicking up day and night, Mike.
Yeah, no, you're right. And that means there's a lot of activity going on in the atmosphere and with our magnetic shield.
Oh, yeah.
But you know what? Of what we were just speaking about with Congress and Portland, the left,
There we
the
go.
right.
Oh, we found the commercial with Lou Jimenez. Here we go. Let's play it. So that's his role. Stand
Yep.
there.
Yep.
Hide behind a person
Yep. And say, hey, I was there.
and look happy. Yeah. Oh, but good for him. Great to see Lou Buffet again.
Sure.
Oh, what else we've got going on here? Anything else? Well,
So while you're looking, I'll just say that I think Elon Musk has the right idea because he's proposing a third political party, not the left, not the right, not Democrat or Republican, a third party. I think we could use something like that right about now with how everything is all fucked up in this country at the moment.
and it's just getting worse.
The partisan politics are really ripping this country in half. And there's no winner with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about right or wrong. It's
No.
about lawlessness and chaos or order. And we're not getting order right now.
No, we're not, are we?
No, it doesn't look like it to me. It's unfortunate that this is what's going on in our country right now.
Yeah. When you can have
It would explain why disclosure is not moving forward like it was 2 years ago when Grush testified.
Mm-hmm. That seems to be the problem, Mike.
It really is. It's gone downhill from there. And we didn't make any headway. And we were supposed to, but that never happened.
Are they talking about us, Mike?
Oh, listen, probably.
Right in front of her.
That's what they do.
There was no
Wouldn't
angle,
surprise
no
me.
momentum change.
Yeah, we'll have to go figure this one out later. Clickbait, yeah.
You know, that first thing that goes,
They're calling a UFO clickbait. All right, what do we got here? This is another video of bringing in the Antifa person. They went and freaking locked up. Yes.
the wrong angle.
We've been waiting too long for this to go ahead and happen.
Together, and then everybody's, pareidolia. All
Andy NGO, go ahead and posting this one.
now,
Anything else going on? Well, Mike, I think this about brings it of where we're at right now.
One another. They don't even have.
Oh, yeah, we came on to cover the NDAA
Yeah.
and some other little tidbits to the audience. And we want to keep everybody up to date
Oh, God,
like
yeah.
we do. Yeah.
If we can, absolutely. Patrick Fogarty, you're there. Your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, no, if there's any light in the darkness here, it's going to be that Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, Papa Smurf, as I referred to him in the past, have a very, very large reach, and this is not settling well with either of them. They put a lot of legwork in to get where they were, and one thing that I'll apologize right here to say it, so if we're getting mocked on an X space, then take this as the soundbite. What we took for entertainment reasons, they've actually used for legitimate reasons. They went out to Congress. There's very few other people that can say that they've done that. There's very few other people that we can actually pull up the video and show that they sat right behind their witnesses and they put their money where their mouth was. So this isn't dead, and don't give up hope. Yeah, I understand this is the fourth time that it failed with the NDAA, but this is not the only route that there is for disclosure. We have to remember that this isn't just a matter of national defense. This is also a matter of humanity. This is a matter of information. Last time I was on, I'm sure people remember how angry I got about gatekeeping. And this, in this specific instance, I mean, there's a level of gatekeeping that's going on because the silence itself speaks volumes to who is controlling why it's being shut down and how it's being shut down. We're no longer shutting down the first-hand experiencers. We're shutting down the possibility of the exposure of the technology that's been recovered, the stuff that's held privately through certain companies, and that's not the only route that we have. We have Matt Gaetz, who is an incredible mouthpiece. I know I'm going to catch shit for it like I did last time. I'm not saying he's a great person. I'm saying he's a great mouthpiece. He has a TV show. He has his feet in the sand when it comes to this. So don't give up hope, and don't think that this is the end of the road. While right now the coals might look like they're kind of getting a little bit stale, it'll get hot again, and it'll get hot again soon. But we're just going to have to approach this from a different angle. And looking at it from the national defense end, you have a massive military-industrial complex that for the last 80 years has controlled all of our economy. Do you really think that they're going to give up the ghost that quick? Absolutely not.
Not at all.
They're going to say no. Exactly.
If I bring this in really quick, we have breaking news on this one. Just came in 5 minutes ago. It was 4 minutes ago, a minute ago. French military seizes Russian oil tanker suspected of launching drones. France's Navy has detained 2 senior crew members of a tanker blacklisted by the European Union for being part of Russia's shadow fleet following the attack over Denmark. If you look back at the news last day or so, those tankers were actually pointed out by, I believe, Vladimir Zelensky, to go ahead and say this is probably where they're coming from. Are you surprised, Mike?
Oh, hell no. You and I have been saying that the drones appearing over Europe and NATO are coming from Russia.
Yeah.
Because of the conflict going on in the Ukraine. So now if they're locating a base of operations out in the sea, like that Russian tanker, that's something that you and I have been saying the whole time.
Right, right.
We know. So it's not a shock or a surprise to me, Thomas. You and I both know what's going on over there.
Oh, of course. We've seen it going for a long time, and it's just, Mike, what it also shows, there's a lot of people in the UFO community who just want to believe. And
Right.
they want to take anything they can and latch onto Ross. We're saying, no, definitively, these are not drones, they're UFOs. The way he puts it out. And those who want to believe are clawing onto it rather than saying, just wait a little bit. Wait till you get the answer. Don't get all wound up into it. See, I told you so. I told you so. See, it's going on right now. Wait till we get the facts.
Right.
Put this hold off a little bit. The real data. And then we can get there. But if you want to believe, and if you push yourself to believe, you're going to be going down the route of the Easter Bunny, Santa Claus, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and a whole bunch of other things that all come into when you don't have any facts for the beliefs you have or for the statements that are coming in a book that you want to say came from God. We want to get beyond belief. We want to get facts. And if you get a fact, Mike, then you can actually dive
Use
into
it as a
it.
data point and
Yeah.
have more information to go on. None of these drones have distributed any, they haven't exhibited any of the 5 observables. It doesn't make them anomalous.
No.
That's what some people seem to be overlooking.
Look, they're moving really fast. Oh wow, look at this. They can change directions. Look, they can go ahead and turn their lights off, but none of them are like the 5 observables. What are they talking about? Potentially high-end technology for drones that could be based on dual fuel source, where potentially you have some kind of electric generator that would use something like hydrogen peroxide or other stuff to go ahead and actually create the energy to go ahead and power these things. I mean, everything that's coming out of how they move, what's going on with them, ties it down to an adversary that has an advanced platform. And I just have to look at it and wonder, Mike, is this the kind of stuff that when we were having these things flying over the United States, they do look similar? Could it be the same Russians who were doing this stuff on U.S. shores back in November and December of last year?
It could be, but again, we don't have any evidence to support that either.
Yeah.
So
But-
until we get any actual evidence, it's hard to say.
Ross did come forward and said, yeah, there were some people who saw this thing and it was big as an A380, which is much bigger than a 747, and they were turning around and going so slow. Biggest thing I have to ask, Mike, stupendous claims require stupendous evidence. So if there's evidence to go against the claims that are being made, show it. If not, it's no different than me talking to my dogs and getting an answer with two barks or 3.
Right. Yeah. If you can't back up or support your claims, don't make them. That applies to every subject and every person that likes to make points that they can't back up. Save everybody the time and the trouble. If you can't back up what you're saying, just shut up about it. No one really wants to hear it at this point because it's just a big waste of everyone's time, including theirs.
Yeah. Well, it seems at this point, Mike, with what's been going on, there was a change in policy coming from the federal government because in breaking news, U.S. will provide Ukraine with intelligence for long-range missile strikes deep inside Russia's energy infrastructure. That's not going to go well.
No, it's going to escalate. Once you start to hit harder and make them bloody, they're not going to calm down or go away. It's not going to end. It's only going to escalate. So, yeah, it looks like we're headed in that direction, unfortunately. Not a good thing.
Yeah, and there's more countries in Europe where they're seeing drones on a regular basis. It's in Germany, it's in France, it's in Netherlands, it's in Denmark, it's in Sweden, it's in Finland, it's all the surrounding areas. So whatever it's happened in Poland as well, Hungary. So there's all these different areas where there's been these air incursions going on, and do you believe the Russians when they're saying that, no, this shit isn't happening? It's not this. Oh, this isn't us.
Well, they said the same thing 2 years ago when they were doing military exercises near Ukraine border with hundreds of thousands of troops. They also said, no, it's not an invasion. We're just doing military exercises. Well, we saw how that played out. So no, I don't believe them.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Here's a shot of the tanker that was boarded by the French military today.
Did they find any drones?
They haven't said yet. They've taken the two top people from it. Let's see what their investigations find out. But this is the same tanker that's been close to other resources that have actually been destroyed, like underground data cables and such. This tanker's got a lot of bad history behind it. If we could, Patrick, you have your hand up, my friend.
Cognitive dissonance. To touch on something Mike was saying as far as, the whole bring evidence to the table and whatnot, and the claim that Russia said that there's no military action here and they're staying away from it. One of the biggest things that every government has employed is the use of private contract. They can utilize, let's say you were to contract with one of these tanker firms and you gave them everything that they possibly needed, or at least a direction to put them in to gather the information that you wanted to use. Just 1 second. Hold on.
Yeah. Uh-oh. The boss speaks, Mike, and how that goes sometimes.
I do. Yes, sir.
Cognitive dissonance, I think, is one of the plans that we see here. And by using oil tankers, it looks innocuous. It looks like, oh, they were just guys having fun. But let's go back a year ago over New Jersey. We had members of our own military saying that they saw these things following them in the water. This wasn't ground reports. These weren't civilians. These were legitimate reports by our own Coast Guard. So I think when we look at the whole picture, this answers a lot of the questions. We know that we had Russian oil tankers off of our coast that were traveling south to Venezuela, south to Cuba. They're allowed to be out at 33 miles off of our coast. If you did have something that was I think we got someone else have the same problem I have. Mike, hit mute. So I think what we're looking at here, though, is similar. And for us to dismiss that this is what was happening off our own coast is, I think we're feeding ourselves our own blind. We need to keep our eyes open to what's going on. This is exactly how governments operate. They don't want to put themselves out there, put their flag in the side of a ship and declare war against people. They want to be able to hide behind any curtain they possibly can. And in this instance, it's an old oil tanker that's not doing much of anything other than creating information. And it's a very, very good disguise. You have Russian oil tankers that travel the world to deliver their fuel everywhere from China to Venezuela to South America, so they can justify why they're in that area. And this continued to go on over this summer. It's just that no one reported on it. There was no need to report on it. No one wanted to report on it, and it would only cause more issues with the public. So I think that this is a lead-in to them poking the bear. They want to see us fight back, but at the same time, they could also fall under the regulations of the FAA. If these operators of these drones from these ships did everything that they necessarily needed to do to make themselves visible.
The FAA has guidance over the United States, not over Europe.
Well, okay, so we have international flight regulations, and part of those international flight regulations do cover drones. So you can enter into United States airspace with a foreign aircraft, or in this instance, a foreign drone, if it's registered as a commercial aircraft and it follows all the regulations that are set forth before it. So if these were being launched from a tanker, let's just say, for instance, it was off the coast of Jersey, and it was trying to ruffle some feathers of a guy that owned a golf course, they could legally fly him out over his golf course and scare the hell out of him to where he doesn't want to go to his own home on the weekend. This is the most realistic. I look at this and plant this at home and think this is likely what's happened to us. That's probably the best way I could word that. But the governments love to play cognitive dissonance. They don't want to have their own warships out there doing this if they can have a freighter doing it, if they can have an oil tanker doing it. And in this instance, it proves it. Just as you had said, there were communication cables that were cut. And lo and behold, this tanker was found within 25 miles of where those communication cables were cut 12 hours after this happened. So
it almost seems like they need to take every single person off this ship and do a full investigation of every freaking nook and cranny to find out what's going on within this oil tanker that's been empty, that's been hanging around this area for the longest time.
Well, and that's the thing is, if you look at where this tanker has traveled, that'll answer to what it's actually doing. If it hasn't come to port in months and it's been out floating around, it's not out there just burning fuel for the sake of burning fuel. It's out there for a reason. But just on the same token that they had a plan to gather information, to poke the bear, to try to get people upset, more than likely they had a means to discard of whatever evidence they would have. Remember, if it's a drone, all they got to do is when someone's onto them, put the thing into the water. That's gone forever. I mean, there's stuff at the bottom of the ocean we're never going to see again. So this plan that they used is brilliant. They've got an infinite amount of space to hide the evidence. That's all I wanted to add to it. I think that this answered a lot of our questions of what was going on last year. When they said UFO, all it meant was unidentified. It didn't mean it had come from outer space. It didn't mean that it wasn't ours. It was just that we couldn't identify what it was.
Right. But we're talking about advanced drone technology that's been hardened, meaning it's impervious to the technologies that we've developed at this time that we think is state of the art to go ahead and try and bring these things down. And when we try and bring it down with these electronic gizmos and it doesn't work, we figure, oh my God, it's impervious, we can't get it. It's like, no, you're just using the wrong kind of weapons, the wrong kind of ordinances to actually go ahead and actually blow this stuff out of the air.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think that part of it is the technology is so cheap and easy to make. That we've seen this in China where you have people backdooring it on their own to make AI equipment that does not need GPS. It doesn't need any type of navigation. Yep. It'll get to where it wants to go gather the information and get home. And then when you add on top of that, stuff that's public information, stuff that you can go look up on YouTube. Saab developed a hydrogen peroxide engine for submarines back in the early 2000s that would allow an electric submarine to stay underwater for a few days. Unlike a nuclear submarine, it's not going to stay under for weeks. But if you can have something that can support that size of a vehicle and perform the tasks that it needs to do for a week on end before it has to come back up, and it can generate its own hydrogen peroxide. Folks, let's remember, what is the ocean made out of? It doesn't take much to generate the fuel that you're needing to put these things up in the air. So what better place to put a laboratory to create your hydrogen peroxide than on a massive oil tanker that you're putting out in the ocean? It's basically a step below nuclear with the same force as having a nuclear powered ship. You're surrounded by fuel and you only needed a catalyst to transfer it from one to the other.
Yeah. Great points, Patrick. It's just, it's interesting to see they have more advanced technologies in different ways, but the kind of what you're talking about from the hydrogen peroxide base energy systems that gives them the ability to loiter at space for a long period of time, to have high-speed takeoffs and maneuvers and changing directions, and this kind of, but we're not talking about them going from 0 to 14,000 or 56,000 miles per hour. They're all moving around within the capabilities of what human craft is. And even if you just had a basic GPS, if you want to call it, receiver on this platform to figure out where it is, to go ahead and control it and actually have it follow a pre-programmed track or what it's going to do, you could use an 8-bit 6502 or ZD CPU, which is super hardened, and they have these that can go ahead and work under very tight conditions where They're not going to lose track of stuff, and you could give it very basic commands to go far this much, go far this much direction, go in this direction for so long, and just follow this pattern to along until you see your battery hits a certain point, and then you go back and change your direction towards a particular area. So, you know, it's not brain science. I mean, we're talking technology like used to power the Sega Game Gear, Sega Master System back in the day, or Game Boy Black and White.
Raspberry Pi, you used to be able to pick it up.
Oh, that's so much more powerful than that. 10, hundreds times beyond that.
And that's what's available today. I mean, it's available anywhere. You can build these drones at home, right there. If you scroll back up,
there we go.
That all started with amateur drone equipment that you see these displays with. This wasn't government funded stuff. There might have been early quadcopters that were, but all of the development of this was for entertainment purposes. So it's not far-fetched to think that with the same effort and the same amount of funding available to them, especially if it's on a contract, that you'd be able to develop something similar to not only scare people. I mean, that last one was pretty interesting that they showed there, the starburst. Imagine seeing that over your house. Imagine walking out and seeing that you'd think the world's under attack if you didn't know what was happening, if you didn't think it was a drone. There you go. Oh my God, that thing's amazing. So this technology is available, and it's available to anybody. And put in the right hands, you can fish for whatever information you want. So I think right now what we're seeing is a new type of warfare where it's an information warfare where they're utilizing private firms to do their dirty work for them. That's just a shot in the dark, but you know, I think
it looks that way. It clearly does look that way. And I know there's a lot of people out there, I said it before, who want to believe Patrick, but you just have to pull it in. If we're seeing things that look like it's otherworldly, that's what it is. If you see things that's going on that looks like from us, stop following the bait. Stop following the deceiving headlines that want to pull you into it and say, well, I believe that these things are not from the human race. Well, show us some facts and get to it. Don't pull a bunch of unsuspecting people in who want to believe and jump to it. Give us some facts so we can all dig into. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of speculation.
Well, and speculation is what drives the fear. I mean, without that speculation, what would be the necessity to it? If you can have an entire... Remember, last year was an election. Okay, you had a guy that was kicked out by his own party. You had no confidence in the sitting president, and you have these drone incursions coming over the U.S. and we had absolute silence from our own government. You had one candidate who was being briefed every day on by the Security Council what was going on. He said, "The president of the United States knows what this is. I don't know why he's not telling the American people." But then all of a sudden, when he becomes president of the United States, his mouth is tighter than the last guy. So we have to ask ourselves, if this were truly something anomalous, would the government be able to hold it that quiet? No, it would be a secret that they're holding against another adversarial government. It's something that they know more information about than they're willing to speak, but they don't want to upset the public with it, mainly because they don't want the public to all of a sudden take enemy with the local neighbor, the local church, the Russian Orthodox Catholic Church, or whomever it might be. When realistically it's a private contractor that's making billions of dollars off of just floating a ship out in the middle of the ocean. When oil isn't worth it anymore, the ship might still be worth it. And that's, I think, what we're seeing. The Russian oil has lost 50% of its ports that it used to be able to ship to. So that means that you have 50% of their ships out floating in the middle of the ocean. What are these people to do?
This little picture here is a picture of a supposedly at YouTube. If this isn't right, we're trying to cover this stuff as we see it. It could be wrong, but this has gone ahead and shown out by Logcod News. That Russian soldier carries 30 first-person video drones whilst motorbiking through the forest. He's got gym shorts, tactical leggings, pink Crocs, and a handmade woolly socks. This is the ultimate military outfit, but it just shows. And what do these FPV drones do? They launch them, and then they actually have like thread size, fiber optics, to go ahead and where these things go for miles before they hit their intended target. And why are they using fiber optics, Patrick?
Can't interfere with it. You have to cut it.
Bingo. And that's what we're actually, yesterday I saw, there's a bunch of defenses that have been recently invented by the Ukrainians where they have a wire that stretches over a mile that has all these little blades, and the wire is always spinning. So when an FPV drone passes over it with a light fiber optics, it's going to go ahead and slice up the wires and shut the drones down.
Yep. Well, that's one instance where we see the guy on the motorbike, those are going to be easier ones to stop. But we've used long antennas, our ultra low frequency ULEV stuff that we use to communicate with submarines. We can fly over Utah and communicate with a submarine out in the Pacific or the Atlantic, and it'll have a 1.5 mile long antenna. So when people say, well, how long could these things be? We've used long antennas, we've used long fiber optics for years, but if these things are being dropped and controlled out of aircraft, that offers a whole new discipline as far as where you have to be looking to stop these. Right now, Ukraine is looking to cut off the fiber optics from the ground level, but if you're flying these at the border of Belarus, or you're flying these at the border of, what's their exclave there? What's the Russia's exclave that faces off towards Norway? Name escapes me right now.
It's next to Poland.
Yeah, but
Kaliningrad?
Is it Kaliningrad?
Kaliningrad, yeah, something like that. Final
so
answer.
You're flying a bomber, you're flying a cargo aircraft that has the ability to circle at, let's say 175 knots at 30,000 feet, and it has the capability of launching a 10-mile fiber optic cable on 70 different drones at once. Well, you've got a massive aircraft. You no longer have one bomber, one cargo aircraft. You have a spread that covers an area the size of all of Manhattan. And all that aircraft has to do is just continue circling, and it can continue feeding out the information it needs to. These things don't have to move at ridiculous speeds. They don't have to keep up with the aircraft that's lying the drone line for them. They just have to stay within the proximity of their own drone line. So this is, as I said, this is what we're looking at. And this isn't hyperbole. This isn't bullshit. Anyone can go look up right now on X if you want to look up fiber optic drone cables. Every battlefield in Ukraine right now is scattered. It looks like fishing line.
Mike, it looks like Nick has his hand up. If you want to finish off with Patrick, I need to step out for a second. Patrick, go ahead and finish off, and then you can get to Nick.
I'm all set.
Okay, go ahead, Patrick.
No. I mean, why do you think, Mike, that there's not more Matthew Browns, Mike? Like, why there's not Matthew Browns when the UAP Disclosure Act has basically been canceled and not going to pass it? Why don't there more Matthew Browns, you think? The people who just say, I don't care if I go to jail. Who cares? That disclosure is going to happen whether it go back or not.
Nick, you have to understand that Matthew Brown did go to Congress. He did try to go through proper channels, and they led him up. Nancy Mace told him that he would be allowed to testify at the previous hearing, and pulled the rug out from under him at the last minute. So he's not a whistleblower that shit's going to not care about his classifications, the government, or repercussions that he could be dealing with as a result of speaking out publicly. He sent his report on Immaculate Constellation. It was submitted to Congress on congressional record. So when he did the interview with Knapp and Corbell, he was talking about what was already public knowledge. So there aren't going to be whistleblowers that are going to come out and hand the keys to the candy store to everybody, because they have to protect themselves. And why don't we see more whistleblowers coming forward? Well, simple. There aren't enough whistleblower protections on the law books yet that will protect them if they do come forward publicly. And until that happens, you're not going to have people coming forward anymore, because they are at great risk and they have nothing protecting them. Congress has a responsibility to legislate proper whistleblower protections so that they can come forward. But in the past few years, they haven't focused on that or accomplished that. So is it by accident or on purpose? I don't know.
Why don't like Thomas? Like, why isn't there more rogue whistleblowers, Thomas? People just say, because I don't care if I break the law.
There aren't more whistleblowers right now, Nick, because the protections that should be in place to protect them, to protect their families, to protect their income, to protect their jobs, their livelihood, are not in place at this point in time. And if you look at what's going on with Congress, with the NDAA, and more importantly with the UAP Disclosure Act, and there was absolutely no support to go ahead and actually get this through, you know, they're putting their necks out for what? What happened, Nick, after David Grush came forward? What do they do? Look, we just had these new whistleblowers come forward. What has Congress been doing and everything since then? There seems to be just a lot of momentum to have these hearings, but they already have the information and they're not doing shit. That's the problem.
Is that true?
You know?
Which is the point I was making, Nick. But Thomas, I want to let you know that our good friend and journalistic colleague, Professor Matt Laszlo, had sent us the link for his live coverage right now from Senator Mike Rounds about the UAPDA. It's in your DMs on X.
Oh, that means we get to actually play it. No, I don't want that lower third, not that one. I want to get to the videos. Let's pause it. Let's start it again. We got breaking UFO news. Yes, Mike, there was a conversation that we had with regards to the shutdown of the UAP Disclosure Act in the Senate. And you're like, oh my God, we need to get a statement from Burleson or somebody. And you called up and you're like, who could we call? And you called up Laszlo. You got him on the, you got to him, you talked to him and over a DM or whichever. And he's got a statement ready for us. Hey, Mike?
He's putting it up on Askapol Live. You have the link. We could play it.
Let me find it. Give me a second. Sent the link. Okay, we're not wearing Mexican sombreros, so I think this is a good one.
Right.
Hilarious, by the way. Hilarious. Let's get into it. So let's get into the studio for this one. All right, here we go. Where's Mike? There you go, Mike. Let's get into this house. Where the issues are with UAPDA, Schumer's co-sponsor says. So this is Matt Laszlo talking with Senator Rounds, who was the co-sponsor of the Schumer Rounds Gillibrand National Defense Authorization Act amendment for the UAP Disclosure Act. Okay, this one goes on for 3 minutes and 7 seconds. If we go about 34 seconds in, we should be able to start and listen to this breaking news from Matt Laszlo. Here we go, everybody. You heard it here first.
Until they've decided they want to move forward, we're kind of at a standstill. But in the meantime, I think a lot of us are talking about what the steps are in the approach process and in the NDAA to get that moving as quickly as we can once this nonsense is over with.
Is the NDAA even moving, or is that just kind of a placeholder on the floor right now?
It's all ready to go. It's just, I think our Democrat colleagues had one or two issues they had to resolve it on their own.
Yeah.
And then once that's been resolved, then we can move right, we can get it done.
Can you pass it like optic-wise? Can you guys do that while the government shut down?
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can do approaches as well.
Yeah.
Because, and if we do the approach and get those through, a number of those would limit the amount of areas that are shut down.
Yeah.
Because there's a significant number that we don't have any differences of opinion on.
Yeah.
A Republican and Democrat alike, where we're just basically got to just pass the bills.
Yeah. On the NDAA, since we talked last, has your amendment with Schumer, the UAP Disclosure Act?
I don't know that it's going to get through the House.
Through the House now?
Right. I think that's where the issues go.
I heard maybe Roger Wicker had problems with it.
So, Mike, you already bring it up. Even though they could potentially get it in the Senate another way, they're not getting it through the House of Representatives. That's where Anna Paulina Luna, Tim Burchett, and Nancy Mace all voted for the NDAA, even though it didn't have the UAP Disclosure Act included. And if they didn't vote for it, Mike, it would have been held up and never would have passed.
Right. That's exactly right. This is the same shit show that we've seen going on 3 years in a row right now.
Yeah.
And nothing is changing.
No. All right, let's hear a little bit more. We got about a minute left. Here we go.
House now?
Right. I think that's where the issues go.
I heard maybe Roger Wicker had problems with it over here.
I hadn't heard that.
Yeah.
But the only thing I know is that I heard that the House may not be willing to go along with it, which might be, if you're hearing Roger, it might be him telling people that the House has problems and we'll have to drop it. But I can't tell you that because he's not talked to me about it.
HASC Chair Rogers from Alabama, and then ask Rankin, Adam Smith, see that they're fine with it.
Yeah,
Like they don't even know what your amendment is.
the last time I heard it was the House that was of concern.
House Intel or?
I don't know. I just heard that the House had a problem. So I said, well, okay.
All right, let me go hound them and then I'll come hound you.
Yeah, see you later.
Good to see you, sir.
Okay, enough of that. Well, Laszlo got the drop, Mike, as usual.
He always does. Yep. It's why we support him and the work he does over at Escapol.
Oh, yeah.
But isn't it interesting that Wicker shot it down in the Senate, and then Rounds is talking about how he knows there are issues also in the House?
Yeah.
This never stops. They are blocking it every chance they get.
It's too much, Mike. It's, you know, it's kind of like they're gagging on it. It's so big they can't get it down the throat.
There you go.
You heard it here first, folks. Yeah, they can handle the size and girth of the UAP Disclosure Act, and they need have little small bite-sized pieces to train them up, I guess, to get to the full schlong.
Yeah, but they're not there yet, and it doesn't look like we'll be there anytime soon.
No, unfortunately not. We wish it was there, but we've known it's going to be there. We know it's the problem.
Right. So we have been informing the public not to get their hopes up and have wishful thinking on moving forward on disclosure, because with the way things are in Washington, D.C., that's not going to be the case right now.
Yeah.
Not for some time either.
No. Unfortunately, we got another year ahead of us, folks. But on Friday, we will cover what little UAP pieces of text that were added into the National Defense Authorization Act. Some little pieces, but it's not enough, Mike. It's not enough.
And there's no whistleblower protections there, which are key to have people coming forward.
And Tim Burchett has a one-page bill that gets there. Anna Polina Luna said she's gonna co-sponsor it. Are they gonna get some more people? I think Eric Burleson will get there, but is it gonna bring everybody else in? Maybe not.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
That's why we seem to be in the winter of disclosure right now. It's just not moving forward.
The desert of disclosure. We could call it the winter, but winter, at least you get winds and light. This is definitely the drought of disclosure.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. I like that. That's a good catchphrase.
Oh, you got the
disclosure drought.
Mocha got the new turkeys. We had the ones last year. This year, Costco made them all pirates. Get the other turkey that's up front in there. You can see it is relative. It's in the box in the very front, at the bottom of the box. There should be a there we go. It's the same turkey. Got the pirate, and now we got the pirates. So let's see. Come on, let's see the two next to each other. $10.99 at your local Costco warehouse. Here you go. We got this is this year's version and last year's version. Here you go. Here you go, Mocha.
I like the pirate version better.
Oh, so did I. So does Mocha. Here you go, Moose. I mean, Luke. 3i Atlas update. Oh, God. Peter, you got me. I know there was something I saw today about 3i Atlas. Oh, yes. Okay. Peter knew I had a video here from Avi Loeb.
Oh, no.
Oh, God, yes, Mike. It's not as bad as Susan Goff. They need to bring her picture up and condition you again.
No, please don't. Please don't.
Yeah.
I don't need to see that again.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to it.
This is pretty bad.
Here we go. We have Avi Loeb talking about 3i Atlas again. More importantly, Mike, could the drones we've been seeing be UAPs in Denmark, and could they be there because of 3i Atlas? Let's see what Avi Loeb can tell us. Here we go, folks.
On us for purposes either benign or malevolent. It's not the first time astrophysicist Avi Loeb has suggested the object has alien origins. He came on this show to say so a while back, even saying the object could be on a mission to release, quote, mini probes that could invade Earth. And Avi Loeb joins us now. He's the head of the Galileo Project, director of Harvard University's Institute for Theory and Computation, also the best-selling author of the book Extraterrestrial. Okay, why are we just now figuring out this thing is as big as it is? Why were we wrong in the estimates of its size?
But Bernoulli Bernstein is so much bigger than... Well, I'll bring that up in a second.
Thanks
He
for
wants to talk about schlong size. I've got something much bigger than this one.
having me. Well, we know that the object is losing mass because we see a cloud of gas around it that is a result of its warming up as it gets close to the sun, but it doesn't change its path. There is no push that is visible on the trajectory of the object, and that means that it's very massive, at least 1,000 times more massive than the previous one, which was a comet Borisov discovered in 2019.
Come on, shut up, Avi. Getting into this really quick. The Bernoulli-Bernstein comet, as they call it, they don't know what the fuck this thing is, has been coming into our solar system. This thing has a mass. Where is it at? Where's the size? I've got it here. Bernoulli-Bernstein is... Oh, come on. Let me get the sizing of this one. CI Atlas. Okay. Bernoulli-Bernstein is another comet that's coming into our solar system. It's very large. It's about to be 119 to 137 kilometers in size, which is about 85 miles across. 3I Atlas itself is about 3.5 miles across. So we're talking about an object that is 3.5 miles across versus an object that's 85 miles across. This is science fact. This object is going to come in not up to Jupiter, but up to Saturn and maybe closer. What's going on? This thing is massive. They call it's the size of a protoplanet. But they're all up in arms about 3I Atlas, which is a fraction of the size, 30.5 miles across versus 85 miles across. If anything had the ability to call out and call it Planet X, that aligns to what was going on back in the day with the Sumerians. This could be it. 3I Atlas, not so much. It's a flash in the pants. Let's get back to Avi Loeb talking about this. Here we go, folks.
Only that it's so massive, much more than the previous one, but there is also not enough rocky material in interstellar space to deliver such a giant rock into the inner solar system over the past decade.
Well, explain that, Avi. Like, so what do you mean there's not enough rock? What do you mean? Does this mean...
Bernoulli-Bernstein is much larger, Avi. Come on, talk about the facts.
This is even further reason for you to think this isn't a natural object?
Well, yes, because there is limited reservoir of rocky material per unit volume in interstellar space, and even if you package all of it in objects of this size or bigger, then there is just not enough number of objects to deliver them at random once per decade to the inner solar system. So that's another issue, and the trajectory of this object is aligned with the planets around the sun, the plane of the planets. And on the one hand, that's extremely rare, 1 in 500 chance, but on the other hand, it offers us an opportunity to observe it. And indeed, by the end of this week, it will come within 29 million kilometers from Mars, and there are several orbiters there that were deposited there by NASA, by the European Space Agency, by the Chinese Space Agency, and we will get much more information about it. In particular, we can get an image with a 30-kilometer pixel size.
I have a breaking Costco news alert. I've just had something that's fucking 10 pounds dropped on my freaking desk. What the fuck is this, Luke? Is that cake or something? What is it called? Variety dessert bars, 32 count, 10 pounds. It feels like a $19.99. Luke, are you going to be eating this every day for breakfast? Are these your pastries you've been looking for?
Yeah.
But wait, there's more.
That's not from Luke. That's from Luke.
We've got whole. What is this? Hole in the wall meatballs and marinara sauce. Mike, I think this is more up your alley.
Oh, it is absolutely. Yeah, that looks good actually.
What state is this from, Luke? See if you can find it. No wonder why the dogs are going fucking crazy around here right now. They want to eat the cake and the meatballs all at once.
oh, I would. Why not?
Oh my God! This is Mike. Here, he can give us back. Chicago, Illinois. They know how to make meatballs. Let's just say that. Granted, it's not it's not Brooklyn, but it's Chicago, and they do know how to make meatballs. That's a fact.
Yep. Not bad.
Megan Beth says nothing like cake and balls. Well, if the curtains don't match the drapes, Mike, I think that could be a problem.
Yeah, it means something is not quite right, usually.
Yeah, we have well, you got the tacos are already there. We need to eat them. Tacos first, leave that next. You got street tacos. Can't deal with that. I mean, got to deal with that. Okay, let's get back to Avi Loeb. We've got a bit of a time left into it. Let's get into it. Let's enjoy it. Here we go, everybody.
You can then look at the brightest pixel and infer how big is the object.
So if you think the chances are getting slimmer and slimmer that it's a man-made object, meteor, what is it?
Well, there are some other anomalies. You know, during July and August, there was some glow in front of the object towards the sun, 10 times longer than it is wide. We don't see that often in comets. Usually the glow is behind, trailing the object away from the sun.
What does that tell you then?
Well, we don't know.
Bernadette Bernstein is a lot bigger than 3I Atlas. Come on, Avi Loeb, open your eyes.
You see, that is work in progress, and we just need more data. My point is simple. You know, any intelligence agency knows that they need to make a contingency plan for black swan events that are rare, unlikely, but could make a huge difference. We should do the same for interstellar objects. Just be aware of the possibility that it could represent alien tech.
Okay, anytime I hear black swan event and alien tech and interstellar objects, you're
We're
giving
Jeremy
me
Corbell.
nightmare fuel. Avi Loeb, I'm sure we'll have you back. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching.
Well. That was a quick thank you.
What the hell was she talking about? A man-made comet. I've never heard of a man-made comet. Have you?
No.
I don't know why she said that.
Not even close.
Nope. Very odd.
Elizabeth Vargas, what are you going to expect?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That explains
But at least it gets there. Audience has had a good time. We've had a good time, Mike. We've been around for a little bit more for an hour, and I think we're going to have to be potentially having these Wednesday night shows on a regular basis going forward.
If we have something to talk about, sure.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But if there isn't, we won't. But if there is, Patrick, we'll be back.
Yeah. If there's something to cover, we'll always be back.
Oh, God, yes. Absolutely, on that note. Where are we at, Mike? Great show. Let me go ahead and find this.
Yeah, it was fun. On Hump Day, Wednesday night.
Hump Day, yeah. Not a lot of things going on, but there are things going on. And we're back to go ahead and talk about it, have fun, enjoy the conversation, my friends, as we usually get to it in this part of the show. Let me get to where we're at. Mike, there we go. I appreciate you coming out tonight. This has been a great show, great opportunity to hang out with our friends, our family. You know, we talked about the different things that are going on over in Europe and the drones. We also got into what happened to the UAP Disclosure Act and, more importantly, Antifa taking over Portland. We will continue to cover that one closely, my friend.
Right, and also thanks to our good friend
Matt Laszlo.
Professor Matt Laszlo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for that comment on the UAP DA being failed for the third time in a row. He was the first one to get a member of Congress to comment on it.
Oh, yeah.
That was good, yeah.
That's where we get to, my friend. And Mike, I want to thank everybody for coming out to this episode of Disclosure tonight. More importantly, I want to go ahead and thank anybody who gave us a super chat. Who am I talking about? Let's see if there's anybody. Yes. Nope. Someone before the show, maybe. I want to thank everybody. Let's see if I can find it over here. Oh, where's it at? Fan funding. Brendan England, $5 Australian. Thank you very much, my friends. Start before we even got going. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight to this episode of Disclosure tonight. You know, this is a fan-funded program. We appreciate everyone's love and support. And Mike, as we usually say at the end of every episode,
go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on a flip side. Good night, everybody. See you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.